Never chase, never beg, never explain. Your silence is strength. Most people today don't understand this. They speak too quickly, defend themselves too fast, and waste their energy on people who never valued them. They try to justify their worth to those who were never paying attention. They fight for attention that was never theirs to begin with, and they keep trying to fix situations that only drain their spirit. Deep down, you've felt this. The moment someone ghosted you, brushed you off, or treated your presence like it didn't matter, you tried harder, thinking effort would earn respect. But here's the truth. Effort without dignity destroys you. The more you chase, the more they pull away. The more you talk, the less they listen. The more you explain, the smaller you feel. The Stoics understood this deeply. Silence is not empty, it is discipline. And when you master it, you don't lose people. You only lose the ones who were never meant to stay. 1. Silence makes them feel your absence. People don't recognize your value when you speak. They notice it when you stop speaking. Silence hits harder than explanation. Distance reveals what's real. Most people have no idea how much power they hand away simply by reacting. When someone ignores you, dismisses your feelings, mocks your words, or treats your presence as replaceable, your instinct is to respond. You want to explain yourself. You want clarity. You want to fix the discomfort. But every time you try to prove your importance to someone acting indifferent, you shrink in your own eyes. You feel smaller while they feel larger. That is how emotional imbalance begins. Not from what they did, but from how much you gave afterward. The moment you stop explaining is the moment they start paying attention. The moment you stop chasing is the moment they start wondering. Silence is a psychological mirror. It forces people to confront their behavior when you stop cushioning it with reactions. Some people depend on your emotional responses to feel in control. They need your reactions to validate their ego. They need your explanations to feel superior. They need your frustration to feel important. But when you fall silent, when you step back with intention, not anger, everything shifts. They can no longer feed off your reactions. They can no longer twist your emotions into ammunition. And most importantly, they can no longer pretend they don't know what they did. Your silence removes the noise and reveals the truth. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus taught that whoever controls your reactions controls your peace. When you respond instantly, defend quickly, or rush to be understood, you hand your power away. But when you pause, breathe, and choose silence, you reclaim the authority they once held over you. Silence in this form is not passive, it is deliberate. It is self-respect without a single word. Your silence is not emptiness. Your silence is a boundary. Your silence is clarity. Think of a moment when someone treated you casually while you treated them sincerely. You probably replayed conversations, you rewrote messages, you searched for the perfect explanation. You tried harder to be seen, and the harder you tried, the more invisible you became. Now imagine doing the opposite. Imagine stepping back. Imagine letting silence speak instead of filling the space with effort. In that quiet, something happens. They feel the shift. They feel the absence of your energy. They feel the loss of what they took for granted. And here's the truth people overlook. Silence is often the only language some people understand. You don't have to argue. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to bleed emotionally to get closure. Your silence becomes the message. Your absence becomes the consequence. Your self-control becomes the lesson. Here's your practice. When they ignore you, don't pursue. When they disrespect you, don't argue. When they try to provoke you, don't react. When they misunderstand you, don't explain. Your silence is not weakness. It's the moment you stop handing your power away. It's the moment they understand what losing you really feels like. 2. Silence lets you hear the real truth. Noise blinds you. Silence shows you who you are. When you stop speaking, you finally hear what your inner voice has been trying to tell you. Most people live in emotional noise. They talk to avoid feeling. They seek advice to avoid responsibility. They look for reassurance to escape discomfort. And when something painful happens, rejection, disrespect, betrayal, disappointment, they rush to explain it to someone else instead of sitting with themselves. But the truth is simple. The more noise you create, the less clarity you have. Silence is the space where truth becomes visible. And sometimes, what hurts you isn't what happened, it's the meaning you created because you never sat still long enough to separate thoughts from emotions. Silence is the gateway to clarity. And clarity is the foundation of power. When you grow silent, you turn inward instead of outward. Instead of chasing reassurance, you start noticing your own patterns. You see how often you tolerate disrespect out of fear of losing someone. You realize how easily you attach your worth to someone's response. You notice how quickly you react to triggers, not because you're wrong, but because you're unhealed. Silence doesn't just calm you, it confronts you with yourself. And that is where real growth starts. In the raw honesty no conversation can give you. The Stoics knew this centuries before modern psychology. Marcus Aurelius said, "If something external disturbs you, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment of it." Silence separates the event from the interpretation. It's where you ask, what actually happened? What story am I telling myself? What truth am I avoiding? Most people fear these questions. That's why they talk. Talking is escape. Silence is truth. Facing truth is the beginning of freedom. Think about the last time you were hurt. Maybe someone ignored your message. Maybe someone disrespected you. Maybe someone made you feel small. Your instinct was probably to react, to explain, defend, clarify, or ask why. But if you had stayed silent, you would have seen the situation differently. You would have recognized whether the issue was theirs or yours. You would have seen the pattern in their behavior. You would have noticed your instinct to overgive, over-explain, and overextend. Silence is not withdrawal. Silence is investigation. Silence is self-study. And here's the truth. Everything you're looking for in others is already inside you, but you can't hear it when you fill every space with noise. When you go quiet, realizations rise to the surface. I stayed longer than I should have. I accepted less than I deserved. I mistook chaos for connection. I stayed loyal to someone who wasn't loyal to me. And sometimes the hardest truth appears. I didn't lose them, I lost myself trying to keep them. Silence brings that truth up so you can return to yourself. Here's your practice. When you feel the urge to speak instantly, pause. When you want someone else to interpret your feelings, pause. When you want advice more than reflection, pause. Sit with your emotions for 3 minutes. Breathe. Let the thoughts settle. Listen. Because in silence, you don't just hear the world more clearly, you hear the part of you that never lies. 3. Chasing closure is self-betrayal. Closure isn't given. Closure is created. And the moment you chase it, you lose yourself. People don't realize how much dignity they give away trying to understand someone who hurt them. When someone withdraws, grows cold, or shifts their behavior without explanation, the instinct is to look for answers. You want to know why. You want them to explain. You want clarity. But here's the truth. Anyone who truly respected you wouldn't leave you confused in the first place. So chasing clarity from someone who created the chaos is already self-betrayal. It tells your mind their words matter more than your peace. It tells your heart their validation matters more than your worth. Chasing closure is chasing someone who already turned away. The only thing you catch is pain. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus taught, you cannot control their actions, only your response. Asking someone who hurt you to heal the wound they caused is surrendering your power. People who care communicate. People who don't confuse you. And people who desire control keep you waiting, wondering, and emotionally dependent. Closure in their hands becomes a weapon because they know you're hoping for an answer. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you stop being controlled. Think of a time when someone withdrew but kept you emotionally attached. They texted less, became distant, shifted tone. You felt the imbalance, and instead of stepping back, you stepped forward. You tried harder. You wrote long messages asking what went wrong. You replayed conversations searching for mistakes. You kept the door open even after they closed theirs. But the more you chased answers, the less they respected you. People value what values itself. When you sacrifice dignity for closure, you teach them they can mistreat you and still have access to you. Real closure doesn't come from them. It comes from your decision. From the moment you say, they know how they treated me, they know what they did. If they wanted to fix it, they would. Pain comes from wanting answers. Peace comes from no longer needing them. Here's the truth most avoid. You don't need their explanation to heal. You don't need their apology to move forward. You don't need their story to validate your experience. What happened already showed you who they are. Your job isn't to collect their reasons. Your job is to reclaim your self-respect. And here's the hardest part. Closure often hurts more when you get it, because the truth they tell is rarely the truth your heart wants. Sometimes silence is kinder than the explanation they'd give. Sometimes the question left unanswered protects you more than the answer would. Here's your practice. Write the message you want to send, and don't send it. Write the questions you want to ask, and keep them. Write the truth you've been avoiding, and accept it. This is how you stop betraying yourself. This is how you reclaim your strength. Because closure doesn't come from them. Closure comes from choosing yourself. 4. Silence reveals what their words try to hide. Words can deceive, but patterns never lie. When you go silent, you finally see the truth behind their actions. People trust words more than behavior, and that's why they suffer. Someone can say they care while ignoring you. Someone can say they respect you while belittling you. Someone can claim honesty while hiding what matters. Words are easy to manipulate, but silence changes the perspective. When you stop responding, stop defending, and stop feeding the conversation, their real character shows. Silence uncovers what constant talking hides. Most people get blinded by promises. They get attached to intentions instead of patterns. They listen to excuses instead of watching actions. But the Stoics taught a principle that never fails. Judge by actions, not appearances. Emerson echoed a truth that cuts through time. What you do speaks so loudly that words lose all meaning. When you go silent, everything around you becomes clearer. Silence removes illusions. Silence exposes motives. Silence reveals character. Think about someone in your life who constantly left you uncertain. They apologized but repeated the same behavior. They said they cared but disappeared when you needed them. They promised change but stayed exactly the same. When you argue or explain yourself over and over, you get too emotional to see the truth. But when you step back, with no reaction, no explanation, and no emotional investment, their consistency or inconsistency stands on its own, and that clarity is everything. Silence shifts you from participant to observer. It places you in a position of strength, not confusion. It replaces emotional chaos with calm perspective. And from that position, you finally see what they tried to hide: their neglect, their manipulation patterns, their lack of loyalty, their emotional immaturity, their need for control. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It removes their ability to confuse you with charm or words. People reveal themselves the most when they realize you're not engaging. Someone who respects you steps forward. Someone who wants control panics. Someone who feeds on your reactions tries to provoke you. Someone who never cared simply fades away. The truth becomes obvious because you're no longer blurring it with emotional effort. Silence also reveals something deeper, your own behavior. You begin to notice how much you tolerated, how quickly you forgave, how often you excused actions that never matched their promises, how easily you abandoned yourself to keep them around, and most importantly, how peaceful life becomes when you stop dealing with inconsistency. Silence gives you one of the greatest gifts. It separates who they pretended to be from who they truly are. And once that truth appears, you cannot unsee it. Here's your practice. When someone's words and actions don't match, observe in silence. When apologies repeat without change, step back. When someone explains more than they demonstrate, notice it. When their energy shifts for no reason, don't question them, question the pattern. Your silence is not avoidance, it's clarity, it's protection. It lets every mask fall off. And what remains will show you exactly who deserves a place in your life and who hid behind their words. Not explaining yourself is a form of supreme confidence. The moment you stop defending your choices, something shifts in you. Your presence sharpens, your energy strengthens. People feel it immediately. Most people waste their lives seeking approval they don't need. They explain their choices to avoid judgment. They justify their boundaries to avoid conflict. They defend their feelings to avoid being misunderstood. But every explanation you give to someone who doesn't value you slowly erodes your sense of self. You begin to believe your life needs permission. Permission to grow, to walk away, to protect your peace. Self-worth doesn't disappear all at once. It dissolves through countless explanations spoken to the wrong people. Confidence is quiet. Security doesn't need a speech. Stoicism teaches that you control your intention and your action, not how people interpret them. Marcus Aurelius warned against living according to opinions outside your control, because once you chase approval, you become owned by it. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim the freedom to live by your values instead of their reactions. Think about how often people misinterpret you when you over-explain. The more you clarify, the more they judge. The more you defend yourself, the more guilty you seem to them. People who want to misunderstand you will do so no matter what you say. People who care won't need explanations. Explaining yourself doesn't build respect. It builds dependency. Imagine pulling back from someone who drains you. They demand reasons. They want you to defend your choice so they can argue with it. If you explain, you enter a negotiation you never asked for. But when you calmly say, "This is what I'm choosing," and leave it there, everything shifts. You don't gain control by arguing. You gain control by refusing the argument. Not explaining yourself communicates three truths. 1. You know your value. 2. You trust your own judgment. 3. You respect your boundaries. This quiet confidence unsettles people who rely on control. They expect you to justify your feelings, your distance, your decisions. They need your explanations to maintain a sense of power. Remove that supply, and their influence collapses. But the right people are drawn to your clarity and consistency. Here's your practice. When someone wants a long explanation, give a sentence, not a speech. When you feel the urge to defend yourself, pause first. When pressured to justify a boundary, simply say, "This is what I need." When guilt rises, remind yourself, guilt means growth. You don't owe anyone a detailed presentation of your life. You're not on trial. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you begin living from your true power. The quiet, steady confidence of someone who finally trusts themselves. Silence and detachment are the lessons people never forget. Walking away without noise holds more power than any argument. Your silence becomes the full stop they never expected. Your distance becomes the consequence they earned. Impact rarely comes from long conversations. It comes from absence. People learn the most not when you speak, but when you stop showing up. When you detach, when you stop reacting, when you choose stillness over effort, the real lesson begins. Silence creates a space they cannot avoid. Distance forces them to face what they ignored. Detachment isn't cruelty, it's clarity. Stoics believed true strength comes from controlling your attention. Seneca taught that we suffer more in imagination than reality. That's why detachment becomes a mental shift. When you stop reacting, people face their own actions without your explanations, softening the blow. Your silence becomes the mirror they can't escape. Your absence becomes the message they can't bury. Your neutrality becomes a boundary they never thought you'd enforce. Detachment is not shutting down emotionally. It's shutting down access. It is reclaiming the energy you once gave away too freely. It is choosing peace over chaos, dignity over desperation, clarity over confusion. When someone mistreats you, pulls away, or plays games to feel powerful, the strongest move is not confrontation. It's stepping back and letting them experience life without the privilege of your presence. Your absence teaches what your words never could. Think about someone who took you for granted. Maybe they assumed you'd always be available. Maybe they relied on your forgiveness more than your boundaries. Maybe they believed disrespect was something you'd tolerate because you always explained yourself. But then something changed. You stopped responding instantly. You stopped defending yourself. You stopped giving emotional labor to someone who didn't deserve it. You became calm, grounded, and quiet. And that silence lands differently. They start noticing the distance. They notice the absence of your presence. They start to feel how hollow the connection becomes when your energy is no longer filling every empty space. This is where their discomfort begins. The point where they finally realize they were never the core of the connection. You were. And now that you've stepped back, the entire dynamic falls apart. Your quiet distance becomes the truth they can't argue with. People who truly care will move closer. People who only benefited from you will drift away. Those who wanted control will feel uneasy. And those who are sincere will approach you with clarity and respect. Detachment shows you exactly who is meant to be in your life and who never truly was. Here's your practice. When someone crosses your boundary, detach. When someone plays with your emotions, detach. When you get inconsistency, detach without a warning. When someone assumes they have unlimited access to you, restrict it silently. The 3 principles of Stoic detachment: no reaction, no justification, no checking back. This isn't about punishing anyone. It's about freeing yourself. It's about taking back mental space. It's about choosing peace without needing approval. And above all, it's about realizing that you can care about someone and still walk away from what harms you. Detachment isn't the end of caring. It's the beginning of self-respect. Because the lesson they carry forever isn't the one you spoke loudly, but the one you taught through silence. 7. But the one you delivered in silence. The 7-day disciplined silence ritual. Real power doesn't come from reacting. Power comes from choosing when not to react. And this ritual trains you to regain that control. Silence isn't something you use once in a while. It's a discipline, a practice, a skill, and like any form of strength, it grows through repetition. If you've spent years over-explaining yourself, chasing clarity, or reacting emotionally to disrespect, you won't undo that in a day. But you can reset your patterns through intentional daily silence. the kind that rebuilds your inner authority from the ground up. This 7-day practice is designed to shift your habits, reinforce your boundaries, and teach you a rare form of power: the strength of controlled silence. Each day targets a different weakness: overthinking, overgiving, emotional impulsiveness, dependence on validation, and replaces it with clarity, discipline, and inner steadiness. Day 1. Audit your silence. Write down 3 situations where you usually talk too much, defend yourself too quickly, or respond emotionally. Awareness is your first weapon. Once you identify where your energy leaks, you stop losing it without realizing. Day 2. Create boundary sentences. Prepare 3 short, steady, emotion-free lines you can use when someone pressures you. I'm not discussing this right now. This is my choice. That doesn't work for me. Short, direct, no explanation. Day 3. The no reaction window. For 24 hours, avoid reacting to disrespect, provocation, or emotional pulls. You breathe, you observe, you stay silent. This is where withdrawal hits, proof of how conditioned you've been to respond instantly. Day 4. Observation log. Every time someone behaves inconsistently, write down 3 things: what happened, what they did, what it revealed. This teaches you to trust actions over promises. Day 5. Self-closure letter. Write what you wish you could say: the message, the frustration, the questions. But don't send it. Delete or burn it. This frees you from emotional weight. Day 6. Energy recall. Unfollow, mute, or limit access to 5 people or sources that drain you. Silence isn't just something you use, it's something you apply as a filter. Day 7. The value oath. Choose one principle you'll protect no matter who stays or leaves. Write it like a vow. I choose peace over attention. I choose dignity over desperation. I choose silence over chaos. By the end of these 7 days, something inside you shifts. Your impulses calm down, your clarity sharpens, your reactions slow, and people begin to treat you differently because you finally treat yourself differently. This ritual doesn't change them, it changes you, and that changes everything. Silence isn't emptiness, silence is power. And now you understand why it guards your dignity, sharpens your perspective, and returns your strength back to where it always belonged, within you. When you stop chasing, stop begging, and stop explaining, you stop abandoning yourself. You stop pouring energy into places that never deserved it. You begin to move with intention, discipline, and the calm force of someone who refuses to be ruled by emotions or noise. Remember what you learned today. Silence makes them feel your absence. It reveals the truth. It exposes patterns. It rebuilds confidence. And it teaches lessons your words never could. This isn't about being cold. It's about being conscious. It's about choosing peace over chaos, self-respect over approval, presence over performance. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. My silence is my strength. Like the video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe for more Stoic guidance. Your silence is your final word, and your strong is one.